Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 192, The Moonlit Stage. In the quaint town of Melodyville, where the streets were lined with cobblestones and the houses boasted colourful doors, there was a peculiar occurrence that had the townsfolk whispering. Every night, precisely at midnight, a haunting melody would drift through the air, touching the heart of those who heard it. It was beautiful, yet sorrowful, and no one knew where it came from. The melody seemed to have a magical quality, for it would start as soon as the town clock struck 12 and would fade away with the last chime. The residents of Melodyville were intrigued but also a bit frightened. After all, there was no known musician in the town who played at such an hour. Enter Lucy, a young librarian with a love for puzzles and a keen sense of curiosity. She had moved to Melodyville only a few months ago and found the mystery of the midnight melody too tantalizing to ignore. Lucy decided she would solve this enigma. Each night, Lucy would try to trace the source of the music. She walked through different parts of the town, listening intently as she went. The melody seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. It was as if the very air of Melodyville carried the tune. One evening, as Lucy was about to give up her search for the night, she noticed something unusual. The melody grew louder as she approached the old town square. In the centre stood an ancient fountain, dry and unused for years. The music seemed to emanate from there. Lucy approached cautiously, her heart racing with excitement and fear. As she drew closer, she could make out faint words being sung by an ethereal voice. In moon's embrace, secrets wake. Seek the truth for your own sake. Follow where the shadows dance. In silence lies your only chance. The words were cryptic, but Lucy was determined to decipher their meaning. She pondered over them for days, discussing them with no one for fear of ridicule or disbelief. Then it struck her. The shadows. The melody only played at night when shadows were cast by the moonlight. Perhaps she needed to follow these shadows to discover the source. That night, armed with nothing but her wits and a small flashlight, Lucy returned to the town square. She waited until midnight when the melody began its haunting serenade. This time she paid attention to where the shadows fell. As if guided by an unseen hand, Lucy followed a trail of elongated shapes that led her away from the square and towards an old part of town where few ventured after dark. The shadows led her to an abandoned theatre known as the Moonlit Stage. The theatre had been closed for years after its owner mysteriously vanished. It was said that he had been a brilliant composer whose music could touch souls, but who had been heartbroken by some unknown sorrow. Lucy pushed open the creaking doors and stepped inside. The melody was louder now, filling the dusty air with its poignant notes. She followed it until she reached the stage where a grand piano sat under a beam of moonlight streaming through a broken roof. And there, sat seated at the piano, was an apparition, a ghostly figure with sad eyes that seemed to look right through her. It was playing the piano with such passion that Lucy felt tears well up in her eyes. The ghost stopped playing and turned to her. "You have found me," it said in a voice that was barely more than a whisper. Lucy gathered her courage and asked, "Who are you?" "I am Edward," replied the ghost. "I once owned this theatre and composed music that I hoped would bring joy to others, but my greatest piece was never finished." Why do you play every night?" Lucy asked. "I am bound here by my unfinished work, Edward said sadly. "I cannot find peace until my symphony is complete." Moved by his plight, Lucy made a decision. "I will help you finish it," she declared. Over several nights, Lucy worked with Edward's ghostly guidance to complete his symphony. She transcribed his music as he played it, note by note. Finally, one starry night, they played Edward's symphony together, she on violin and he on piano, for all Melodyville to hear. The next morning, Lucy found herself alone in the theatre with only sheets of music to show for her nocturnal adventure. But from that day forward, the midnight melody ceased to play. Word spread about Lucy's incredible encounter, and Edward's completed symphony became famous throughout Melodyville and beyond. Lucy had not only solved the mystery, but had also helped a lost soul find peace. And in doing so, she discovered that sometimes mysteries are not just to be solved, but also to be cherished as they bring unexpected friendships and adventures. As for the town of Melodyville, it became known far and wide as a place where magic could happen, where music could heal, and where a young librarian had once unravelled the secret of the midnight melody. And though Edward's ghost was never seen again, his music lived on, a testament to his genius and to Lucy's kind heart. The Moonlit stage was restored and became a venue for artists from all over, each performance beginning with Edward's symphony as a tribute to the composer and his mysterious muse. Lucy continued her work at the library, but she often visited the theatre, sitting quietly in the audience, listening to the music that had changed her life. She knew that some mysteries were more than just tales. They were melodies that connected souls across time. And so, in a town where every night was graced by a melody that spoke of loss and love, a librarian found her calling, not just in books, but in the notes of a song that would forever echo in the hearts of those who heard it. Vocabulary notes. Quaint, attractively unusual or old-fashioned. The quaint village was filled with small cottages and narrow streets. Cobblestone, a naturally rounded stone, larger than a pebble and smaller than a boulder, used to pave streets. The old town had cobblestone streets that were charming to walk on. Peculiar, strange or odd, unusual. She found his behaviour quite peculiar. Emanate, to come out from a source. A sweet scent emanated from the flowers in the garden. Ethereal, extremely delicate and light in a way that seemed too perfect for this world. The dancer's ethereal performance captivated the audience. Cryptic, having a meaning that is mysterious or obscure. She received a cryptic message that she couldn't understand. Decipher, to succeed in understanding, interpreting, or identifying something. He spent hours trying to decipher the ancient script. Apparition, a ghost or ghost-like image of a person. People claim to have seen an apparition in the old haunted house. Nocturnal, active at night. Owls are nocturnal birds that hunt during the night. Symphony, an elaborate musical composition for full orchestra, typical in 4 movements. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony is famous for its complexity and beauty. Story written by Copilot AI. Images created by Copilot AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.